Go! 3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah.
How was it? No sugar for 1 week.
Just straight up into it.
Yes. How was it?
So,
Hello.
I am BBR.
I'm BBC.
You are BBC. This is Big Boy Talk. And yes, your big boy, BBR, had a challenge last week after your challenge from 2 weeks ago of fasting for 1 week. I went a little less hardcore and I just said no sugar for 1 week. I tried to avoid sugar anyway, but it was alright. I managed to do it with one really big exception. On Sunday we went to visit an old family friend with my wife and my mother-in-law, and I knew that my mother-in-law made a cake for that occasion, and they were really old friends, and it would have ruined things a little bit.
The thing about the social pressure that I was talking about.
Yeah, it would have ruined. So I said in advance, okay, I'm gonna make up for it, and this is not gonna derail me, and it was fine. It didn't, but it was really bad. I mean, we got there was a chocolate cake made for this occasion, and then the people that we visited also made a cheesecake and muffins. And the person was the kind of person that in Romanian tradition forces you to eat a lot of things and says, oh, I made a lot of effort cooking this and you're gonna love it. And I said, okay, I decided to eat chocolate cake, and yeah, now I'm gonna eat whatever it takes. I'm not gonna eat 2 slices or stuff like that, but I still ate chocolate cake, cheesecake, and then so that was really bad, probably 1,000 calories in dessert. But aside from that, which makes it all less impressive, it was okay. It was really cool. I had more energy. My sleep was
better.
Let me
translate that. It was really hard to abstain myself, except for those times that I didn't.
No, except for that one time that I decided
I'm joking. I understand.
So it was a really good experience in the end, and as I was saying, I felt better. I had more energy. Sugar is supposed to give you energy, but
in the short term.
In the short term, yeah, but in the short and medium and long term, I felt more energized.
Nice.
And yeah, my sleep was better, and I mean less trouble falling asleep, and I woke up easier, so
nice.
That's nice. And yeah, it was a good thing in the end. And I'm gonna celebrate with a Kinder egg, which if you're in America you shouldn't try this because it's forbidden there for a reason.
Isn't that only a meme, an internet meme? I think it's an internet meme.
No, I think it's really not allowed there. We should check that out.
If you're one of those 5 viewers on our channel who lives and you live in America, comment. Is this real?
Yeah.
Are we going to eat this?
Yes.
Like, oh, that's going to be weird.
Yeah. Okay, so our subject last week was cravings.
Yep.
And this week, since we both had goals for the last 2 weeks, we thought about making the subject goals.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on goals, or what do you think about first?
If you work in business, or in business, you will encounter this idea of SMART goals.
Okay.
It's an acronym, and it's not only setting goals, but setting certain type of goals that are really going to help you. Because if you just have vague or hard to track goals. I think it's a lame example, but all the trainers give you this example. Is like shooting with an arrow without having a goal, and then wherever it hits, you go and paint the target there and said, okay, this is where I wanted to get. Or you say, okay, it wasn't far enough or it wasn't good enough, but you don't know why. Because you don't have a specific target, a specific goal. So we'll talk about this in a minute, but you said before we started filming that goals are not necessarily they're good. They can help you achieve a lot of things, but sometimes we don't care too much about our goals because we all want to be healthy, happy, good husbands, good fathers.
To be bad,
miserable,
things.
yes.
Yeah, miserable.
Nobody plans to have a miserable life.
Yeah.
Yet, a lot of people do, and they tend to blame, or we tend to blame others for that. The government, the boss, the company I work for, or how does this, we know how to set, some of us do know how to set goals, and yet we don't, and then we blame others for our failure, even though we know that we didn't set a goal for that, and we didn't keep track of getting that goal done.
Was I saying this before?
No.
Or something?
Something like
this? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm
putting words in.
You were saying that. So what you're saying is, you're saying that people could have good lives, but some of them are miserable. Lives. Yeah, I would say that, and maybe I'm influenced by Jordan Peterson. We all have miserable lives in a sense, in that even when we want to do good things, something inside of us tempts us to do bad things, and we fail, and each of us fails, and I did in the past, and you did in the past, and I am gonna fail in the future, and that's, I don't want to get too philosophical and talk about what he talks about, like the misery of being and stuff like that, but I think that goals are a way to create boundaries around us, good boundaries that don't let us do the things that we don't want to do, but that we do want to do in moments of weakness. And setting a goal about, I mean, there are more complex goals and there are simpler goals. And I was thinking, while you were talking about SMART goals, my goal was on the simpler end. Don't eat sugar for a week. It's kind of a passive goal, actually. It's when a decision comes to eat or not eat sugar, don't do it. A more complex goal, like losing weight, is much more active. You have to do things, you have to go shopping, you have to work out, and and we could use the example, if you want to, of your goal for the month of November or whatever it was.
Yeah, I have to testify. I had a goal for this November. I said I will get to 85 kilograms by the end of November. I was weighing about 95, 96. So about kilograms, yes. About 10, 11 kilograms to lose in 20 days.
Pretty hardcore.
Yes, yeah. A bit hardcore, and when I don't know if people really know this, but when you talk about a SMART objective, each letter stands for a different word, or different characteristic of the goal or of the objective. First of all, it has to be specific, because otherwise, if it's not specific, if you say I want to lose some weight, or I want to eat healthier,
look better,
or look better, what does that mean? After a certain period of time, you say, okay, did I reach my objective? Who knows?
It means different things even to you from day to day.
Yes. So if you have a goal, it has to be specific. My goal was specific. I have to lose 85 kilograms.
To lose 10 kilograms and get to 85.
Yes.
Not to lose 80.
That's a bit harsh. So to lose 10 kilograms. The second one is to be measurable. You want to have an objective that at the end of the period, you have to know, did I do good or not? Because I want to feel lighter, I want to feel more attractive. You cannot measure that. Do you feel? You feel now. You feel.
Yeah.
That it's not something that you can measure and say, okay, I'm at 85%. At the end, in the middle of the period, I said, okay, I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
I'm on track. Or
and measurable could mean you can divide it up into single days and say, do I want to lose 10 kilograms in 20 days? Okay, that means half a kilogram every day. So, yeah.
Yes. So, my objective was measurable. So, SM. A is achievable. It's something that I have the authority or the control over. It's not something that is from outside, because sometimes we set ourselves objectives, me included, that include things that others should do, and if that objective is not reached, you have an excuse. You say, okay, I did my part, but this objective was not reached because the government did something or my friends did something. If I say I want to in my house to have only healthy food, but my wife buys, I don't know, bread for the kids, and I say, that's not healthy food. Yeah, but my objective was not achievable because it wasn't only up to me. I don't do all the shopping in the house. Sometimes my wife does that. So SMA R, this is where my my objective failed. Realistic. You have to know what comes ahead. Okay, I set up a way too optimistic objective. I said I can lose 10 kilograms in 20 days because I've done this, I think 8 years ago, but my body, it's 8 years older now, and my schedule was quite different. So I didn't really focus on this, and the problem with setting unrealistic objective is at the end of the period I've lost, I think, 2 kilograms at the halfway.
Oh, okay.
So I said, okay, can I lose another 8 in 10 days? No. So what I did was forget about the objective for good, because I'm not going to reach 85. So I got back to 95. And the last one is set in time. So you can say, okay, I want to get to 85 kilograms. And after 3 years, I say, okay, you said you did that. Oh, okay, 2023. I didn't say when. So all of this, the smart words, make up a good objective that is in your control, and it's something that you can reach and measure and evaluate, but not when you set it and when you are done with it. You can adjust it, not the objective, but you can adjust the things that you do in the time that you have when you before you reach. Yes.
Okay, and if you leave the acronym aside, I would say that your objective wasn't very smart as a word, because I'm just thinking of what I know about studies. The people who lose a lot of weight in a very short period of time gain it all back and then some. I think it's close to 100% of people. So if you, from what I know, the smart way to do it is lose it a bit slower.
Yeah.
So your body can adjust to it and your cravings can adjust to it. And yeah, I'm not saying
Sure.
you're not smart.
No,
the
I understand.
objective can
But
be not smart.
but
You are a special snowflake.
joke of the day.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was thinking my objective was a bit of a passion-driven objective or goal. I said, okay, I want to be that, but by the
Impulse-driven.
impulse-driven, yes. And I said, okay, I want to be this. I know I can do it, but the realistic part made it so the time frame of the objective was way shorter, because I said if I force myself, I can do it. But I think you're right here. A better objective would be, okay, what is the realistic way? 85, it's a realistic objective. If I said it
In 6
is
months.
6 months.
Yeah.
So only if you play with the time frame, you can make the same 85 realistic.
Yeah, and this is also an idea from Jordan Peterson. He says, just give yourself double the time. Why wouldn't you do that? It just makes things more achievable. In anything that you want to do, and you've tried in the past and you didn't do it, just double your time, and that will give you more space to work with. And another thing I was thinking about when we said we would talk about goals is the fact that also from books that I've read and studies on the internet, people who write down the goal are 90% more likely to actually do it. And I don't know what's going on regarding this fact, because I know it. I've known it for a few years. A lot of people know it because it's in some pretty well-known books, but people don't do it, and I don't do it. I don't
You
write
know why?
goals down.
I thought about this. Is because we are afraid of the commitment
Okay.
of writing down. Because if you write something down, you have to not negotiate with your future self. If you don't write it down, if you say, okay, I'm going to lose some kilograms, you get to that party and you say, okay, it's just for now. But if you write, I won't eat sugar for an entire week, no matter what, you will have the feeling of failure once you do that exception. And people, me included, are afraid of letting themselves down and say, okay, I'll negotiate with myself. It's like waking up. If you say, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. If you just say this, you can do it or you cannot do it. You can stay in bed till 8 or 9. But if you commit to it and you, I don't know, write it down, tell this to people, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. If you don't do it, it hurts. People will judge you. You will judge yourself. And I think that's the reason people don't commit. They say, oh, what if something unexpected shows up? And then I will have to not do the thing that I plan. It's better for me to adjust along the way. And
So it hurts your reputation in front of others, and maybe more importantly, in front of yourself.
yeah. And another thing, people talk and people who perform well in different areas talk about is, I've heard this, lowering the bar or the standard. And sometimes in our culture, if you lower the standard, says, why would you do that? It is not good if you lower the standard. But this doesn't mean to lower the standards of the law, for example. It's lowering your own standards. If you say, I want to fast for a week,
Mm-hmm.
or to not eat sugar for 1 week, and you know you can do it, or you feel that it's too much for you. Why don't you just, or we just say, okay, I'll do it for 2 days. It's better than before,
Yeah.
but why do we get so unrealistic targets? Like me, I said in 20 days I'll lose 10 kilograms. Why didn't I just say, okay, in 20 days I'll lose 2 kilograms, and by the 1st of December I'll have 93.
I'll lose 2 kilograms and
Stay there.
Stay there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Figure out a way to stay
Stay there. 93. And for another month, another
You
2
could have gone, in that period, you could have gone to 93, back to 95, figure out what got you back.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So lowering the bar does not mean, okay, I'm lowering that much that I'm under the current standard.
Yeah.
It's- It's higher than my standard now, and so I'll be better than myself today, but not the future self that I imagine to be. I want to be the best of, I don't know, if you want to push, when you go to the gym, I don't know, 60 or 80 kilograms with your
Lift or push.
push 80 kilograms, and you can do now 30. It's not realistic. It's not a good thing to say, okay, next week I'll push 50. Even though your goal is 80, you should go, okay, for now I'm 30, next week 35, another week 40, because I have to gain the muscle. I have to adjust and be better than myself, but in a constant way, so I will get to the goal at the end.
Yeah, that's
Ooh, that
really-
sounds smart.
No, yeah, that sounds really good. And it made me think of, well, you're never gonna go under your own standard with a goal. But
Sometimes you are, but it's not good.
I don't think so. When you set a goal,
Oh,
you
yes. Yes.
never go below your own standard. But do you know how you do go beyond your own standard? Automatically, if you don't set a goal.
True.
And that's what happens with your time, with your relationships, with your money.
Or
Things naturally go down, and things naturally go into a worse state, let's say, and you're not really consciously letting them go there, but I think that's just the nature of the world. So that's why we do need goals. And yeah, we're over 20 minutes, so if you had another point, or you could sum up what you said, and then I'm gonna do the reveal.
So, to sum up my ideas, no, I'm not going to do that. No, it's the thing that hurts me the most is that I don't set good goals. Because when I do set good goals that are smart, that are specific, I can evaluate them, that are realistic, that are set in time and are under my control. When I do that, I go further. I do things that normally I wouldn't. But they have to be in this. They have to have those characteristics. And when they do, they help me be a bit better. And if I'm a bit better today, Seinfeld had this. Sometimes I don't know if you do. I do some stand-up comedy, and Seinfeld said, "Every day I write a joke. It's not I'm going to have a number or a whole setup or routine in 3 months, so I want to do it in 3 days. No, he said I will write one joke every day. So sometimes you write 2 or 3 jokes in 2 minutes. Sometimes you have to stay for 1 hour just to think of something that's funny.
Yeah.
But that small goal every day makes you have this routine that grows your muscle, but that small objective makes you better every day.
I've heard that from writers too, and it's weird. I've heard it put in this way more or less from a lot of them. 2 stinking pages every day or something. There's a word there that signifies the frustration of certain days or desperation of certain days. But if you do a small amount every day, it inevitably gets you to a book in the end. Okay, and yeah, you summarized it quite well. I don't know what I could say extra. Maybe that goals should be written down. That gives them a certain power. And I do agree that you need to aim for making yourself a little better, maybe 1% better. If you make yourself 1% better this week, you have in a year that has 52 weeks, you have the chance to be 50% better, which would be amazing.
It's the same thing with reading. If you say, I don't have time to read, it's because you don't set 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day to read.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, you say, okay, it's such a big subject that I want to fully immerse in it. No, you don't. Get 10 minutes while you're on the toilet with that book every day, every morning. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and read in that 10 minutes 3 pages. In 1 year, you'll read 1,000 pages.
Okay.
If you don't read now, only if you read 1 page a year, I don't do the math. So do the math. It's 999 pages more than you did do this year.
Yeah.
So only if you do those small steps, in the long run, it will make a huge impact.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned reading, because that's a goal that I want to set for next week. So I've been reading a lot since I was in high school, and I want to get back to it. In the last few months I didn't really read a lot, and these are the books that are waiting for me right now. So for next week I want to get back to reading 50 pages a day.
Okay, I'll make sure.
And that takes me 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm gonna write it. I've done this before.
What?
And
50 pages takes you 30 minutes?
20 to 30 minutes, yeah, depending on the book.
You read 100 pages an hour? I don't think.
Oh, no, I think it takes me 50 to 60 minutes. Yeah. That's right.
Speed reading 101, I want to learn that.
Yeah. And one thing that worked in the past was I'm going to change the text to my morning alarm to my goal. And I see that every day because I see the time and then the text. And then in that way I'm going to write it down too, and we'll see how it works out.
Okay.
So we've done a lot. Let's reveal what's inside this thing.
This is a secret
Probably something really awesome
that my kids would play with. Okay, I will do this off camera.
It's kind of a bear
Thingy.
who doesn't really do anything. Okay, these have gotten worse since a few years ago. When I was a kid.
The podcast or the Kinder Surprise?
No, the surprises. But it's fine.
See you next time.
Alright.